In August 2005, an old woman named Daisy is at the hospital because she doesn't have much time left. Although she's clearly in pain, she hears the train and tells her daughter Caroline the story of how they built the station back in 1918. After losing his son in the war, a blind clockmaker put all his energy into making a wonderful clock that was hung on the station the day of the inauguration. When the clock was revealed, everyone was shocked to see it was running backwards. The clockmaker explained that he made it that way as a memorial for those who lost their sons during the war, so they could hope to see them come back. Afterward, the clockmaker was never seen again. Then Daisy asks Caroline to get a certain diary from her bag and read it to her. The diary belongs to Benjamin Button, and the first entry starts in 1985, explaining that sharing his story is his last will. It all starts in 1918, right after World War I ends. While everyone celebrates outside, Thomas rushes to check on his wife, who dies after giving birth. Then Thomas checks on the baby boy and is horrified by what he sees. Panicking, he grabs the baby and rushes out of the house. The baby won't stop crying as Thomas runs to the river, where he considers drowning the baby. However, a cop sees him and starts chasing him. Thomas runs as fast as possible and hides in Dark Street, where he sees a pretty house. He abandons the baby on the steps together with all the money he can find in his pocket. While Thomas leaves, a couple comes out of the house and accidentally steps on the baby, making him cry. Queenie opens the blanket and discovers the baby looks like an old infant. Her boyfriend thinks they should go to the police, but Queenie picks the baby up and takes him to her room, hiding him in her drawer. Then she calls a doctor, who examines the baby and discovers many issues: nearly blind from cataracts, arthritis, and osteoporosis. The doctor doesn't think the baby will survive for long. Queenie decides the baby is a miracle and decides to keep him, so she goes upstairs and introduces him to the tenants of the retirement home she works in. She calls him Benjamin and says he's her sister's child. The elders aren't scared by Benjamin's looks and find him cute. However, Benjamin is strong and doesn't die as the doctor says. As years pass, his body grows, although he still looks like an old man. Because he lives in a retirement home, he doesn't find his own looks weird, he just thinks he looks like everyone else. He calls Queenie Mama and depends on her to do lots of things, like bathing. He learns how to read, but he can't walk and is confined to a wheelchair. Sometimes he would get curious about the kids in town, but Queenie wouldn't let him leave the house. The only times Benjamin gets to leave is to go to church. One evening, Queenie asks the priest for help. He claims to heal Queenie's infertility. Then he theatrically tells Benjamin to walk again. After lots of effort, Benjamin stands up, only to fall. The priest encourages him to try again, and Benjamin manages to take a few steps. At that moment, the priest falls dead. Time continues to pass and Benjamin's body becomes a little healthier. One day he meets Pygmy, who drags him out of the house for some fun. Benjamin takes the streetcar for the first time and is amazed by all of Pygmy's stories. They have a drink together near the lake and bond for a while. Afterward, Pygmy leaves him because he has an appointment, and Benjamin misses the last streetcar, so he must walk home on his crutches. It's nighttime by the time he makes it home, and Queenie scolds him for it, but Benjamin remembers his first taste of freedom as one of the best days of his life. In 1930, Benjamin is looking a little better and can walk on a cane. They throw a Thanksgiving dinner and he gets to meet Daisy, the granddaughter of one of the tenants. They're technically the same age, so Benjamin immediately develops a crush on her. During the party, Queenie announces that she's pregnant and Benjamin feels jealous. That night, Daisy invites him to her blanket fort and they have a sweet moment together that is sadly interrupted by Daisy's grandmother. In the present, Caroline realizes that the Daisy girl from the journal is her mother. Shortly after the baby is born, Pygmy leaves the city, so Benjamin starts feeling lonely. His body gets healthier every day, so he can bathe himself and eat harder food thanks to better teeth. A new tenant also teaches him how to play piano since his hands don't have arthritis anymore. He often goes to the docks to watch the boats, and one day he hears Captain Mike asking for help. Benjamin volunteers to take the job and becomes the boat's janitor. It's a menial job, but Benjamin loves it. He quickly befriends Mike, who freaks out when he hears that Benjamin has never been with a woman, thinking he's very old. Mike takes him to a naughty house and shows off his tattoos while sharing stories of his youth, involving one with wonderful hummingbirds. The working ladies find Benjamin's appearance disgusting, but one of them agrees to give him his first time. Benjamin shocks her by revealing the vigor of a teenager and even wears her out. He promises to come see her often, and on his way out, he's seen by Thomas. On the street, Thomas approaches Benjamin and offers him a ride. They end up going to a bar and Benjamin has his first taste of alcohol. They drink and talk until the bar closes. Then Thomas drives Benjamin home. Queenie scolds him again and Benjamin pukes through his first hangover. Sometime later, while a tenant is cutting his hair, she comments on how he appears to have more hair now. Benjamin concludes he's actually becoming younger every day. Whenever Daisy comes to visit her grandmother, Benjamin spends time with her. One morning, he takes her to the boat and convinces Mike to take them on a ride. They have a great time and watch a cruise ship pass by, prompting Daisy to wish she could be on a ship like that. In 1936, Benjamin is 17 and decides it's time to leave home. After he shares a heartfelt goodbye with Queenie, Daisy makes him promise he'll always write to her. Benjamin takes a job in Mike's tug tugboat, and in the present, Caroline finds all the postcards he sent to Daisy through the years. Benjamin travels from harbor to harbor all over the world and befriends the crew, who become like a family to him. He also feels stronger and younger by the day. He often gets letters from Daisy, who is studying in New York to become a ballet dancer. In 1941, the boat gets hit by a heavy snowstorm as they arrive in northern Russia. They go to a bar and Benjamin sees people fighting, concluding drunkards are the same everywhere. At the hotel, Benjamin takes the elevator and meets Elizabeth, an Englishwoman unhappily married to a spy. As days pass in Russia, the cold makes it hard for Benjamin to sleep, and one night he comes downstairs to find Elizabeth, so they share some tea. Elizabeth shares all kinds of stories about the places she's visited, and they stay up late just chatting. They start meeting every night to talk, growing closer. In the present, Caroline finds a postcard in which Benjamin says he fell in love, and Daisy remembers the heartbreak she felt when she got that postcard at school. As nights pass, Elizabeth introduces Benjamin to all kinds of new experiences like caviar and vodka. She also shares that when she was 19, she tried to become the first woman to swim the English Channel, but she gave up before she could finish. Benjamin comforts her, and they end up kissing, which is another first for Benjamin. The following night, they go out for a walk and agree on rules to start an affair, like never using the word love. From then on, they spend every night in Benjamin's room getting naughty. After a few days, Benjamin comes downstairs to discover Elizabeth has left. The next morning, Mike announces that the Japan has bombed Pearl Harbor and that he's been hired by with the US Navy to support the war effort. The cook decides to quit and be with his wife, so Benjamin takes over his job. When he returns to his room to pack, he finds a note from Elizabeth that only says, "It was nice to have met you." During the war, the tugboat's job is to tow crippled ships and scraps of metal, so they never see the actual battles. A soldier is assigned to the boat to watch over them, and Benjamin enjoys his stories. The guy gives Benjamin all his money, asking him to give it to his wife if something happens to him. That night, the crew hears a bell and sees fire in the distance. A transport carrying over 1,000 men was split by a torpedo, and Benjamin's boat is the first one on the scene. Unfortunately, an enemy submarine is nearby, and the crew decides to bring it down. The enemy opens fire on them, and the soldier in the boat immediately starts firing back, buying them some time as the boat makes its way to the submarine. With a quick crash, they make it explode and sink. Sadly, there's no time to celebrate because the whole crew has been hit by bullets, and Benjamin has to say goodbye to Mike before he dies. The next morning, Benjamin is rescued by the Allies, and when he throws a lifesaver from the boat to the sea, a hummingbird appears around it. Mike used to love hummingbirds, and Benjamin realizes they usually don't appear at sea. He also sends the soldiers money to his wife as requested. In 1945, when Benjamin is 26, he returns home looking 50. He reunites with Queenie and gets to see his sister as a teenager. Unfortunately, he also learns that his mom's boyfriend died a few months ago. Benjamin begins living there again and plays the piano for the elders, recognizing a few old faces. One morning, Daisy, who is now a young woman, comes to visit her grandmother, and at first, she doesn't recognize Benjamin. When she finally does, she runs to hug him and scolds him because he stopped writing. They reminisce over the old times and decide to go to dinner together. During the whole meal, Daisy keeps on talking, and Benjamin realizes their worlds are very different now. He's also surprised she smokes. Then they go to the lake, and Daisy shows off her dance moves before kissing Benjamin, inviting him to do the dirty. Benjamin feels confused and turns her down, so Daisy soon returns to New York. As weeks pass, Benjamin keeps getting younger and stronger. One night, Thomas comes to see him while walking with a crutch because of an infection in his foot. The men go to dinner, and Thomas admits he's sick, so he doesn't have much time left. Afterward, Thomas takes Benjamin to his button factory and shows him around before finally confessing he's his father. He apologizes for abandoning him and shows him a picture of the family at his home, explaining what happened to his mom. Thomas wants to leave everything to Benjamin before dying, but Benjamin can barely deal with this news and leaves. After thinking a lot about it and hearing Queenie's complaints, Benjamin decides to go back to Thomas, and they visit the lake. They watch the water together and find peace with their pasts before Thomas dies. Queenie goes with Benjamin to the funeral, and he assures her she's still his mom. In 1947, using Thomas's money, Benjamin travels to New York to see Daisy at the theater and is very moved by her performance. After the play is over, he goes backstage, and Daisy is very shocked to see him. She behaves very awkwardly and turns down his invitation to dinner, but she invites him to come out with her friends. At the dance club, Benjamin can't stand seeing Daisy with her new boyfriend and leaves. Daisy goes after him and explains she couldn't stop her life just because he came, and Benjamin lets her go. In the present, Daisy explains that Benjamin had visited to tell her about his father, and she had been so wrapped up in her own world that she failed him. She also reveals that she was the first American to be invited to dance with the Bolshoi Ballet. Afterward, Daisy joins a ballet company in Paris, but still thinks about Benjamin, who still helps around the retirement home. One day, he receives an urgent letter telling him Daisy has been hit by a taxi. Benjamin immediately flies to Paris to visit Daisy at the hospital. The car crushed Daisy's right leg, meaning her dancing career is over. Daisy notices notices Benjamin now looks young and handsome, even perfect. She feels ashamed of being seen like this and asks him to stay out of her life. Benjamin leaves the hospital but stays in Paris for a while to look out for her. In the present, Daisy admits she never knew that. Eventually, Benjamin leaves Paris and decides to go sailing on Thomas's boat. He never forgets about Daisy, but he still has fun nights with a bunch of other women. He also gets a bike and goes on long rides on his own. In 1962, Daisy appears at Queenie's to see him. They share a hug, and after catching up, they finally have their first time together without being weird because they look the same age. Afterward, they start traveling together, enjoying a wonderful life in each other's company. When they finally return home, Benjamin is devastated to hear that Queenie died. They attend her funeral for a final goodbye. Then the couple decides it's time to start over. Benjamin sells Thomas's house and buys a duplex for their new life. They have lots of fun working together to build something that belongs to them and enjoy watching the Beatles on TV for the first time. Their neighbor is a physical therapist, and Daisy takes the advice to start going to the pool. However, seeing other women's perfect girls make her upset. Benjamin is there for her, and eventually she decides she needs to drop the self-pity. So she opens a dance studio and teaches little girls. One evening, Benjamin visits her at the studio and Daisy drops big news. She's pregnant. Benjamin has mixed feeling about the idea because he's afraid the baby will be like him and that he won't be able to be a good father considering his de-aging. One evening at a dinner, Benjamin sees on TV that Elizabeth, now 68, has become the oldest woman to swim the English Channel. A few months later, Daisy gives birth to a healthy baby and names her Caroline after Benjamin's birth mother. In the present, Caroline realizes Benjamin is her real father and Daisy remarried after Benjamin. Upset, Caroline rushes out of the room to have a smoke, but a nurse scolds her and sends her back. Baby Caroline grows strong and healthy, but Benjamin is still worried about becoming a kid and asks Daisy to get a proper father for Caroline when the time comes. He even wants to leave before Caroline can remember him, not to break her heart. Daisy protests, but Benjamin points out she can't raise both of them. After Caroline's first birthday, Benjamin sells all of Thomas's properties and puts the money in a savings account for Caroline. Then he leaves in the middle of the night without saying a word. In the present, Caroline finds postcards from Benjamin addressed to her for every single birthday, apologizing for not being there for her. Benjamin starts traveling the world, taking odd jobs here and there to enjoy life as much as he can. One night, Benjamin comes to the dancing studio looking like a man in his 20s. Daisy pretends he's an old friend in front of Caroline, who doesn't recognize him. The moment is interrupted by Daisy's new husband, who is polite but senses the awkwardness, so he takes Caroline away. Daisy notices how young Benjamin looks and admits he was right. She couldn't have raised two teenagers. Then she leaves with her family, saying goodbye to Benjamin for supposedly the last time. However, Daisy shows up at his hotel later and they share one last naughty night. In the present, Caroline realizes she did meet Benjamin, remembering that night. This is also the last thing he wrote. On the TV, the news announced Hurricane Katrina is approaching the area. The nurse tells Caroline they can choose to evacuate, but Caroline chooses to stay because she knows 10 tenths Daisy won't survive for long. Daisy continues the story, saying that shortly after Caroline's new dad died, she receives an important phone call. She goes to Queenie's house, which is still a retirement home being managed by her daughter. It turns out Child Protective Services has found Benjamin living in an abandoned building in New Orleans, and in his journal they found Daisy's name and address. When Benjamin's sister says she's fine with him staying there, Daisy hears the piano and goes to check, finding Benjamin as a child. He is showing signs of dementia and doesn't remember Daisy, but she still feels connected to him. From then on, Daisy visits him often and sees how his memory fails him more every day. This makes him a very difficult child who throws tantrums and climbs to the roof. When Benjamin becomes a 5-year-old, Daisy moves to the retirement house to watch over him, slowly seeing him become smaller. Little by little, he forgets how to talk and walk, becoming nothing but a baby. In 2002, they put up a new clock at the train station, and in 2003, baby Benjamin gives Daisy one last knowing look before dying. In the present, the storm gets worse and an alarm rings in the area. Caroline runs to check on the situation, and Daisy sees a hummingbird at the window. She says goodbye Benjamin and finally dies. The storm causes various buildings to flood and reaches the old clock hiding in a basement. Make sure you subscribe for more movie explanation.